to This Week in Baseball for the week of July 18th, 2024. Did I just have to look at a calendar to figure out what week it is? Yes, I did. Does that mean I don't know what happened in baseball this week? Maybe, but I'm pretty sure it was the MLB amateur player draft, the home run derby, the All-Star game, and then a day with no baseball. And it's weird, and I don't like it.
Sad.
And make it go away. Can I have baseball back, please?
Bring it back. Friday?
All right. So, sorry. I just made the picture go away. So yeah, a lot happened this week. It was a busy week in baseball, while at the same time, absolutely nothing changed in the standings. So I think really, let's just start at the beginning. The MLB draft started on Sunday. Games had not even finished up. I think they had finished right before the first pick, but the games were still going on when or the day that the draft started. It feels a little dirty to me. You would think that we would try and make a day where there's no actual games when we're going and picking the new players and whatever. But Cleveland, who did not deserve a first overall pick, got the first overall pick out of the lottery, even though they had some of the lowest odds to get it. And they took second baseman.
Like that means they deserve it.
Nah. No, like anybody but the Guardians. Like, give it to like the 13th worst team. Like, because they probably tried, but they were still not good. So, like, Cleveland was good last year still, sort of. Ish. So, but that's not the point. Anyway, Cleveland drafted Travis Bazzana, second baseman from Oregon State, and Aussie, with the first overall pick. I feel like I don't really know a whole lot about him other than his slot value is higher than what Paul Skenes got with his record-setting signing bonus last year. The slot value is 10.57 mil. So I'm interested to see what he actually ends up signing for. But yeah, I coming into it, I don't know a ton about college baseball or prep ball, but I was a little bit surprised that it wasn't a guy like Jack Caglianone or Charlie Condon or one of those guys that ended up going first overall, because it seemed like coming out of like their great seasons in college and then going into the not the World Baseball Classic, or the College World Series. There we go. Those guys would be up there at the first pick, but alas, those guys ended up falling. Charlie Condon to the Rockies. Rip. It's gonna suck. Power hitting outfielder in Colorado that is probably just gonna become a normal outfielder in Colorado, unfortunately. Can they actually develop? Can they actually develop him though?
I'm gonna definitely say no. Why would I say yes to that? That has nothing to do with the player, obviously. But Travis Bazzana, it's interesting that he's I never heard of a second. Was he the first second baseman to be drafted number 1 overall? And I noticed there were like a number of second basemen that actually got drafted in this first round, which was interesting because typically they get drafted at the premier positions like shortstop and center field, and then they end up moving to a different position. But they like to draft the guys at like the premier positions for whatever reason. Uh, Remember Spencer Torkelson was drafted as a third baseman. Obviously, that didn't last for long, but maybe now they're being more realistic about where the guy will end up defensively. And I think there was a little bit of question about Bazzana's defensive ability, but the guy can really hit, and he's been doing it he did it for 4 years at Oregon State, and he's a fantastic like bat to ball guy. And that's exactly the type of player that Cleveland loves. So it makes a ton of sense to me that they would go with him, even though to like outside folks, it's like, why wouldn't they do something different? So I get that side of it too, but I mean, they clearly like this type of player, and that's probably why they went with him over one of the big power bats.
Yeah, that makes sense. When you're talking about like teams actually kind of maybe starting to draft players to the position that's realistic for them, what does that mean for Jack? Is it Caglione? Is that how it's pronounced, or is it Caglianone?
Caglione,
Caglione.
Caglione.
Okay, so is Jack
No, it's
Caglione?
Caglione. Yeah.
Is he actually going to be a two-way player, or did they just draft him as that right now and they're going to ultimately just transition him to being a first baseman or a left fielder or something like that? Because his bat is too good to not have him hitting.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, from everything I read about him, he has a great arm for pitching. Like he can ramp it up to 99 miles per hour and stuff. But his future is as a bat. He's like a big mashing uh, first baseman, most likely. I'm gonna say, um, and I have no clue what team drafted him.
He went to the Royals.
The Royals. Okay, so I don't think the Royals will make him a switch pitch like a two-way player, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of switch pitcher, which you just started to say though, uh, Durangelo Sanjay, um, he just got drafted out of Mississippi State to the Seattle Mariners. And what's cool about him is he is a switch pitcher. He is not the first one that we've ever seen. That honor would go to Pat Venditti. However, Tarangelo is, I think, way better than Venditti ever was. Like, he could touch 99.
I mean, he got drafted in the first round.
Yeah, he got drafted 15th overall as a sophomore in a 4-year college. So, but he throws like 90. Senja?
Senja. That's
Senja.
what I'm reading here.
Durangelo Senja. Yeah. Okay. What was I saying?
He throws 99 from the right side.
Yes, he throws 99 from the right side
at 95.
But he has like they say that he's got more break and more control left-handed and more power right-handed, and does both incredibly well. He's naturally a left-handed like person, but growing up he wanted to imitate his dad, and so he learned to play and throw right-handed, and so that's why he's able to be ambidextrous. But yeah, it's really cool that they actually drafted him in the first round as a switch pitcher, and I'm really curious to see if he keeps that up or if they end up picking one side and just say, hey, you're great at this. It'll play against lefties and righties. Let's just go with it. Because I think it would be cool if they developed him as a switch. But I think
I think there's a chance he could actually be a switch guy, but it wouldn't be like a strict platoon thing. It would be like most of the time he would be a right. Wait, he's better from the right side, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think for the most part he would be a right-handed pitcher, and then like in very special circumstances they could turn him around and make him a lefty. That would make him just so valuable, and it would be so cool to watch too.
If like even so against lefties and righties, he's throwing right-handed, but then in a high leverage situation when you really want to screw with somebody, have him switch over and throw it from the left side. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, like maybe against a specific lefty that really like struggles against left-handed pitching or something. That would be the scenario where you'd turn him around.
Okay. Or a switch hitter who's just infinitely worse from the right side.
Yeah, something like that too.
Yeah. Okay. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, so it'll be
And
really
the other thing I know
interesting.
about this guy, I don't have the numbers in front of him, but he barely has any experience. He has super low number of innings in college. So this is like a just a pure raw talent pick. It's not based on like him dominating in college or anything. It's literally the talent of his both his arms.
I was going to say it was 1 year at Mississippi State where he did pretty well, but wasn't
Yeah,
like absolutely stellar with a track record sort of thing.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but there are a lot of other really good players who were drafted here in the first round. Some really good pitchers, couple of really good college bats. But there was some other stuff that happened this week that I think we're a little bit more qualified to talk about. So, what do you say we switch to those? So,
All right.
Monday night, the home run derby. 8 players enter, 1 player leaves with a glass bat. But yeah, they changed the format of the home run derby this year a little bit. And this is now, I think, the third format of the derby that we've seen in the past 25 or 20-ish years. So originally it was you got 10 outs, and an out is anything that is not a home run on a swing. You could take pitches, that's fine. But if you swung the bat and it did not clear the fence, that was an out. You got 10. After that, you were done. So that was the original style of the home run derby. Then maybe 10-ish years ago. That seem right?
It was like less than that, I think, probably 5 years ago.
Okay. Well, a couple years ago anyway, they switched it to where it was basically timed BP. You got 4 minutes, hit as many home runs as you possibly can in a head-to-head bracket fashion with the everybody seated based on the number of home runs that they had, and then the winner was whoever had the most in the third round of the bracket. This year they tried to do a little bit of a hybrid, and it was kind of cool. So it started out with 3-minute round, but there was a pitch limit. You could get 40 pitches in that 3 minutes to hit as many home runs as you could out of those 40. After that, you would get 3 outs to try and hit some extra home runs. And after that, you were done. And it was everybody went, the top 4 guys moved on. And then they put it into a bracket, which I felt was a little unnecessary. But the time then stepped down to 2 minutes in the final.
They're like the head to head.
Yeah, I get that. But I mean, once you get down to the final 2, it is head to head. Like just naturally.
Yep.
But yeah,
Wait,
so
are you saying that you didn't like the all in one round part? You got like terrible lag right now.
yeah, I know. I'm sorry about that. No, I do like the all-in-one round. What I don't like is that they then, after they did all-in-one round, they then put it in a bracket. Is it's like just keep doing it where the best half of the field moves on.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, because
No,
it's
I think I thought it worked pretty well. I thought it was a pretty good new format. My only minor nitpick would be that it felt like it was a little too long. Maybe if they like shorten the time or something, or shorten the number of pitches by a little bit. By the end of it, you could tell like the guys were like just absolutely gassed. Teoscar was like not wanting to swing a bat again.
yeah, but at the same time, that's less pitches than they were facing in like the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's true. I don't
So,
know.
but I don't know.
It was good though. It ended up having a lot of drama because it literally went down to the last swing of the bat by Bobby Witt on a ball that went to a super deep part of the ballpark, hit off the wall that would have tied Teoscar Hernandez in the final round.
And then they would have gone to a swing off most likely. But yeah, so
Yeah.
I think the Cinderella story, though, was Alec Bohm. Came into it with the least number of home runs out of all 8 guys in the field, and then led the field in the first round with 21 home runs.
Yeah. His swing looked so good. It looked amazing from the view behind him. It looked like he was just set up to just crank these home runs, and he doesn't really seem like a guy that has power, and I was kind of like clowning him because it's like, who is this guy? Like 11 home runs in the home run derby. Is he really the only guy they could get? But he clearly has the power, like the batting practice power to be awesome in this style of contest.
Yeah, and then you see like guys like Adelise and Marcelo Zuna
Alonso.
and Pete Alonso, which I think 2 of those guys had just some issues where their pitchers were not throwing good pitches, and with only getting 40 pitches, it kind of really limited them. They had to swing at these. But at the same time, like, these big power guys put up some kind of minuscule numbers. Like, a couple of them didn't even break 16. Like, it was just kind of odd. Like, you had the little guys.
Especially Alonso, after he's done it like so many times, you would think
Yeah.
he would do better having done it.
I agree, but watching him, it seemed like just his pitcher this time was just not hitting his spots. And so he was having to swing at a lot of high outside and try and crank him over the fence, pulling him. And that's not an easy pitch to pull. So my lag is really that bad, isn't it? Oh, 4-second lag. Dang. All right, we'll get through the rest of this.
Bad, yeah.
We'll get through the rest of this pretty quick then. So Teo wins it. That was awesome. He's been wanting to do this for a long time. And so the fact that he got to do it and won was really cool. But yeah, then we had the All-Star game yesterday. So Paul Skenes versus Corbin Burns for the starters. Paul Skenes comes out, said that he didn't black out, but he nearly did, and pitched a really great first inning. Did walk Juan Soto, so he faced 4 batters, but he ended up striking out 2 and then getting judged to fly out, I think.
I don't think he struck anybody out, but
Did he not? Was
a
it
pretty quick inning for him?
Well, it was still fun to see.
Yeah, I was looking forward to the judge and Skeens at bat, and it ended up only being 1 pitch, but it was still cool.
Yeah. But the game early on looked like the National League was actually going to do some damage and win one of these handily for the first time in, I think, my lifetime. Shohei comes out and just pulverizes a 3-run home run. So it was spectacular.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Then all of a sudden, in the bottom of the bottom of the inning, I can't even think of who was pitching at the time. Logan Webb, I think, let 2 on, gave up a double to Juan Soto that really should have been a single. Like, the center fielder was not paying attention. And then the next pitch, David Fry drove in Juan Soto from second to tie the game. Are you there?
Yeah, I just didn't have anything to say. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
That was the part of the game I admittedly was not watching.
Oh, all right. I thought my lag was incredibly bad, and I'm just like, hello? But yeah, so a couple innings later, Jarren Duran, of all people, comes up and crushes a ball into right field to take a 5-3 lead for the American League that they did not relinquish. The National League only scored in that one inning. They are averaging just less than 3 runs per game over the last 11 All-Star games, including last year when they won with 3 runs.
Yeah, that's so bizarre.
I don't get it. Does the National League suck?
Well, it doesn't play out like that for like World Series. And remember last year, the National League was like amazing. They had like all the top teams in the whole league.
Yeah, and they still only
So I
won
think
with 3
we're
runs.
yeah.
Oh well. But yeah, so what was your biggest takeaway or biggest enjoyment that you got out of this week in the All-Star festivities?
Definitely a couple moments in the home run derby were my favorite part when I think when Alec Boehm was starting out in the first round and he went on that huge run at the end of his round after his timeout. That was awesome. And there were a couple other moments like that were great. That remains the better event of the All-Star game and the home run derby.
Agreed. They did do this year a like a minor league futures skills competition. I didn't actually get to watch it, but I kind of would like to because I think that could be a really cool event for the All-Star game. Just other games kind of like the home run derby, but more for fast guys,
For
contact
pitchers.
guys, pitchers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think my biggest takeaway was that Paul Skenes is probably the biggest like American homegrown player for baseball, at least pitcher wise, since Steven Strasburg. This cemented it, and I kind of think that he is now almost guaranteed the National League Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Probably so.
Oh.
He's pretty great.
He is, and now everyone knows it, and I don't feel like I'm hip anymore because I don't know something that everyone else doesn't. What's up? What's up with that?
Yeah. I don't know.
All right. Well, with my internet issues, I believe that is all we have for you guys tonight. Thank you very much. Make sure to check out the YouTube channel, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, what have you, on Monday for an episode that is sort of a little bit previewing the second half, a little bit talking about the first half, that kind of stuff. And we will see you guys next time.
If you enjoy the podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcasting app and YouTube to make sure you don't miss any future episodes. Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Getaway Day Pod. If you enjoy card collecting, check out our sister YouTube channel at Getaway Day Cards.